Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week has been called the Billionaire Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's one of the world's most interesting people that makes cool things happen around the planet, especially for people with large sums of money. His name is Steve Sims, stevedsims.com. More information on him there. You can also check out his book, Bluefishing, and his free Facebook group to find out about all the cool stuff going on there. If you'd like more information on Playful Humans and how to find a little more fun, flow, and fulfillment in your life, go to playfulhumans.com. We help transition the burned out and bored into the energized and engaged. Welcome to the podcast. We like to start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week is brought to you by reality TV. Do you want to spend hours of your life watching other people pretend to do things with their life? Try reality TV today. Do you have a joke or should I go first?
Oh, probably my classic is, and apologies to start with, but guy walks into a bar. Ouch.
Hey, there you go. Nice and simple. I always like the two guys walk into a bar and the third guy ducks. But today I got a good one for you. I asked my date to meet me at the gym, but she never showed up. I guess we're not going to work out.
Classic.
All right, there we go. That gets us started. Feel free to use those jokes with your friends, preferably 6 years and under, and you'll have much more success with those.
Yeah.
So, I guess it's really hard to introduce you and what you've done there, Steve. So why don't you kind of tell everybody about your story, how you get started and how you play for a living?
Wow. I love the way you say play. I really do. I was a, poor lad from East London that was a bricklayer, never had any money, never had any mentorship, never had Instagram to tell me how inadequate and poor my life was. But I realized I wanted something more. So I went off on a journey of mistakes and failures and hurts and scars to try and find something different for myself. Along the way, I realized that if I hung around with people with no future and no money, or no optimism and no money, then that's how I'd end up being. If I hung out with people that were successful and had money, then I would end up becoming that person. So along the way, not expecting, I became the Mr. Fixer, the Make-A-Wish Foundation for guys with really big checkbooks, the concierge to the rich and famous. I was basically the guy you called when you wanted to go and see the Titanic, or you wanted to do something with your favorite rock band, or you wanted to meet a celebrity, or you wanted to get a walk-on role in a movie. I was the guy that had the phone number to be able to make it happen. Did that for about 20 to 30 years, wrote a book, not expecting it to be successful as it was, just basically unraveling how I did these kind of things. And here we are today. I'm speaking around the planet, coaching, teaching normal, real people on how to get out of their way and starting to go for stupid, starting to go for the fun, starting to go for the things that are so stupid that people laugh at you. And that's where I like to live on a daily basis. And quite simply, I honestly feel as though I have played my entire way through life.
Well, that's so brilliant, and why I'm so honored to have you on the show, because I really do think you embody this. And your mission now is to help other people do it, which is exactly what my mission is too. And so I guess we could start there, because I love what you said about stupid. And my line is fail spectacularly. I mean, sure, we all want to win spectacularly, but can you go for something so crazy that even if you fail, people go, wow, well, that was impressive. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I was working with Elon Musk, and I had two clients with me at the time. And one of my clients was just happy to be in the same room as Elon. My other client just suddenly was like a little girl at a Justin Bieber concert. He was like giggling like a nutter, and he was trying to engage Elon in a conversation. And Elon was just getting ready for another meeting that we were all going to. So this was just, while we were waiting for him. And I was getting a little bit agitated that my client was kind of like, Mr. Musk, what do you think about this? And Elon, what do you think? And he came out with a statement because it was at the time just before NASA took on SpaceX to lead the program. And he said, oh, what do you feel about NASA actually employing a social team to basically discourage and downplay anything you say about the space industry? And at the time, NASA was actually poo-pooing Elon's dreams. And Elon, without even skipping a beat, turned around and he said, you know, they'll always laugh at you just before they applaud. And I thought to myself, that's it. You've got to go for the ridiculous. Anything that's ever been achieved has always been laughable before it was achieved. And all of a sudden now it's revered. So I don't say, this is an important thing, make a note of this, never go for the impossible. It's like saying go for the dead end, go for the black. Impossible is a negative. If you look at something and you go, well, that's impossible, you've already told yourself you're right. Okay? So if you change the word impossible for stupid, go for stupid, go for laughable, go for ridiculous, go for failing spectacular, as you said. Okay? Do you know it finally becomes achievable? So that's what I always say. My little coin is go for stupid.
Well, I love that because for some reason I see stupid as more fun, as playful. Like if you say, I want you to do the impossible, that sounds like a ton of stress and a ton of work, right? If you say, I want you to go do something stupid, I go, sign me up. That's fun, right? I can handle stupid. I like a low bar. So it does kind of change the game there, right?
Do you know, funny enough, we'll stop there because you just hit some massive nugget. You just said stupid lowers the bar. Okay. Have you noticed how going for something stupid, you're far more relaxed at going for? You know, you without realizing it, you just exactly said it. Go for the impossible. You're now in a state of trepidation and fear. Go for stupid. Hey, I'm more relaxed. Anyone can be stupid. You know, it takes a lot of stress off of you. And that's why I say, when I started going for things, and I've done some amazing things throughout my life. I've got people on, I've got involved with people you never would have thought you had gone for. But the people I tried to get in front of, the people that I desperately wanted to get in front of, the people that would really cement my business, I could never get near. Why? Because I was too tense. It was too important. Now, when I go, hey, I've really got to get into a room with Elon Musk, you know, because that's just ridiculous. Let me see if I can do it. Do you know how many times that happens? So lower the bar, lower the stress, go for what's laughable, and be prepared to achieve it.
And then I guess there's two sides of this coin that I think stop a lot of people. And it even catches me a lot, I find too, is one, you're probably going to hear no a lot. And then the other one is there's also a fear of success on the other side of that, right? Well, what if Elon Musk says yes? Then I got to go have an interesting conversation with them. Then the pressure's on me to actually do this incredible thing. So how do you balance those two when you don't win and when you do?
For a start, I've never failed. Okay. Because I've always learned how not to approach it. So if I say to you, and let's pick on you for a second. If I say to you, hey, do you want to get together tonight, tomorrow night for a beer? I'm now facing myself with one of those answers being the answer I don't want. Okay. So I've now got a 50-50 chance that I'm going to get the answer I want. So if I come to you and I say instead, hey, let's get together tomorrow night for a beer, would 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock be good for you? Both of the answers now I can actually handle. I noticed very early on that if you were getting a no, you were either asking the wrong person or the wrong question. And so I learned all of these things very on. Someone says no to you, you've still got your nose intact. You know, you can still drive home. You can still hug the wife. No doesn't offend me, okay? The only reason it offends me is because I put myself in a position to be there to receive a no. I should have asked a question where no wasn't going to be possible within the answer, okay? It would lead into a conversation. So I learned very early on how to actually edit the conversations and to ask appropriate questions. Now, you brought up the subject, and you're very smart because you're bringing it up just naturally. I don't want to pay you too many compliments, but you're probably going to take that soundbite.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, we're cutting that one out for sure.
You go for it, man. It's yours because you deserved it. You are so right. So many people are scared at going for it. They hide behind that, oh, I'm going to get rejected. Secretly, people are petrified they're going to get a yes. Are they equipped for the yes? Are they prepared to maximize and opportunize the yes? And so what do? They cower behind that. It could never happen. Okay? Mm-hmm. You'll be surprised when you get to the real root of it. People are terrified of actually getting the yes, because you say to a lot of people, have you ever spoken to a billionaire? Most people haven't. Okay. Most people don't know how to speak to a billionaire. So when they meet someone like Richard Branson, Jean-Paul DeJoria, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, when they meet these people, they stiffen up and they actually tend to bow. You'll be surprised. You watch it. They actually lower their head. They put these people up on a pedestal. How can you talk to someone as an equal when the first thing you do is create further distance? So you've got to understand, if you're getting into the conversation, ask yourself, what's the point? What's the point of me being in this conversation? Well, I want to get a deal out of it. Okay. What if you get a yes? Plan all of those steps, because there's a difference between, fighting today. There's a difference between being prepared to fight. I used to fight, I'm prepared to fight. I'll fight anyone. If my family's in trouble, I'm going to fight. Do I want to fight? No, absolutely not. So there's a difference between wanting to and being prepared. Most people are ill prepared for that yes, and it terrifies them. So they cower behind the, oh, I'm going to get rejected.
Yeah. And then I guess following up on that, though, there is a moment, I call it the imposter syndrome, right? Where you're like, oh, I'm out over my skis here a little bit. This one is bigger than I've ever done before. And there is that trepidation. Is there anything that you found? I love what you said. It's exactly right. Once you've been doing it a lot, you realize that all these people are just human beings. They're as scared and nervous and worried as you are, sometimes more, because they got $1 billion they can lose. You and I can't fall that far, right?
Yeah.
But when you're out there the first time, especially, there is that moment of going into the darkness, the wilderness, where you're like, can I really do this? Any tips for us on that?
You're absolutely right. I remember the first billionaire that I met, and he was from Russia, and I was in France, and I'd gone to this party to meet these rich people. Okay. And there was this guy that was throwing the party. I went outside I was nervous because I was like, oh my God, I'm in this room. They're all successful people. I'm petrified. And I wanted to get hold of this guy. I'd never met him, but I wanted to get hold of this guy because I wanted to do some business with him. Okay. And so I was all prepared, and I was all kind of like, okay, I know what he's working on and stuff like that. I know roughly what he looks like because I've seen pictures, but I'm going to have to rely on everyone else to steer me to the right guy. And then I'm going to have to jump. So I had all of this ready. So I thought to myself, grab a whiskey, step outside the back of the party, get a whiskey down you, and just calm your freaking nerves down. I stepped outside and I went around to the trash cans. Okay, because no one hangs around by the trash cans. And there's a guy sat down there on the edge of the curb, and it wasn't a very big curb. It was actually a concrete bench that had broke, so it was quite narrow. And he's having a cigarette, and he's also got a whiskey. And I said to him, do you mind if I sit down here for a minute? I just need to catch my breath. He's like, I'm doing the exact same, buddy. Sit yourself down. So we sat down and we started chatting away, and we started hanging out and just chilling. He asked me if I smoke, don't smoke. We had a great conversation. The guy was fully relaxed. Everything was cool. We got up, shook hands. We'd both finished off our drinks. We'd actually got someone to run back inside and get us another round of drinks. So we'd been out there for about 45 minutes.
Wow.
Went back in there. I was all composed now. This whole conversation, thankfully to him, had relaxed me. So I was now ready. And I had a couple of spotters. I actually had a couple of my team trying to find where this guy was in the party. And I was very lucky that one of my team was a former model. She attracts she attracts guys. So this elegant, beautiful blonde girl found him and brought him over to me. And as I was getting a drink, she tapped me on the shoulder and she went, Steve, I want to introduce you to. I turned around and it was the guy that I've been having the drink with outside, The daft thing is you get so prepared. These billionaires are very smart, also very lucky at a certain thing. But for the rest of their life, they're just like me and you. In fact, they may be even worse. They may be spectacular in one area. But the pressure now becomes, because you were a billionaire, look at the founder of Victoria's Secrets. Made a fortune from selling Victoria's Secrets because he invented the store because he didn't want to look like a pervert when he wanted to buy his wife beautiful clothing. Went on to be a massive, big business. And then what happened was he sold the business, and every business he got involved in failed, and he ended up committing suicide because he was a one-hit wonder. There's a lot of pressure in being rich.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me, but it's also I guess that takes me to the career side of things. It's still worth doing, right? That's what makes it exciting, whether it's us trying to meet a billionaire or them trying to do something exciting. If you just give up and you just coast and you want to be comfortable, like if you got $1 billion in the bank and you just sit like a hermit in your basement, I'm sure you could have a really nice basement, right? And not take any risks and coast the rest of the time. But I think very few people do that are successful. The ones that do that are probably burned out, bored. They're in the boring, corporate job and in middle management, and they're not taking the risks and never have. So any thought on what it's like to build a career out of doing interesting things like this and having fun or taking risks versus the safety and reward?
Are you on about the person trying to get hold of the billionaires, or you on about billionaires being interesting? Please elaborate on the question.
Yeah, I'm thinking more for the average person here that's watching this podcast, right? You probably got a nice corporate job, maybe a cushy sales gig. You're making a decent income, but all of that looks risky and scary, right? The next thing looks like it's more dangerous than it is, I think, right?
It's very rewarding, and it also very rewarding. Let's be completely blunt. I've partied in palaces and penthouses and yachts, any highbrow event you can think of, from the Monaco Formula One Grand Prix, Stade Polo, Palm Beach Polo, the Oscars, the Grammys. I've been at them all. There's no red carpet from Macau to LA that I haven't been on that's been worthy. All right. So, I've been on them all, and they're great. You notice people act differently. And this actually backpedals to the question you answered, which I didn't answer, the imposter syndrome. Okay. Yeah. There's all of these events. They are wonderful. Your life will change because you'll meet people that look at things differently. You see, wealthy people, they look at things differently. As a normal person, when you try to launch a business and you lose 20 grand, and you lean back and you go, oh my God, I've just lost 20 grand. Everything's gone wrong. You throw your pity party, and then you sink into a bottle of whiskey for the night. A successful person, now notice the word I did not say was rich. A successful person is the one that leans into the failure and goes, hang on, where did that go wrong? Now, if you're successful, the money will come. Rich people get there by the money, by leaning into the problems. Now, if you think to yourself, hey, I'm not rich, that's like refusing to speak to people because they're taller than you, okay? Except for you can become rich. You can't be taller. There's no way in the world you and I can become younger. But there is every ability for us to become richer. And the only thing that it takes for us to become richer is one thing. We have to be able to solve the other person's problem for an invoice. That's it. Okay, that's it. So when I started working with rich people and I started to feel a bit kind of intimidated, I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute. Why am I here? What's the point? Well, it's because they want to get into an event that they haven't been invited to, or they want to be able to have a piano lesson with Elton John, or they want to be, hang on a minute. So I'm the solution. Now, the beautiful thing about solution-based marketing is you don't need to look pretty. Case in point, me. I'm a solution. I'm there to solve your problem. You want an interesting cocktail story. You pay here on the dotted line. I'll give you an interesting cocktail story. So I became a solution. Once you become a solution to somebody else's problem and focus on the fact that you are the solution, you don't have to wonder about imposter syndrome because they're not there for you. They're there for your solution that you bring.
Yeah, I think that's so great. And I didn't mean to laugh at your look because obviously mine's very similar there. So,
I've been laughed at for years. Trust me. So I don't care about that.
I love that. Yeah, it's, gosh, it's so much fun, but I see so many people that aren't having much fun, especially these days when there's risk out there and everybody else is telling you that it's riskier than it is. I guess we've hit this a bunch of different ways, but I'm wondering if there's one more thing just for somebody that hasn't ever experienced it, that hasn't, ever swung for the fences.
All right, I know exactly where you're going. So let me help you on this. You mentioned earlier about my Facebook group. I've got a Facebook group called An Entrepreneur's Advantage with Steve Sims. Yeah. Free of charge. You're not going to be pitched on anything. Go there and join it. Go anywhere and join everything. Have you noticed that people with no money sit around a table full of people with no money and then ask them how to make money? Or they make a little bit of money and then go to their mates that have no money to ask about investment advice. You see, you've got to start surrounding yourself on social platforms. That's the good thing about social platforms is you can surround yourself with successfully minded people. Now, you can be successful if you took $10,000 and turned it into $20,000. You can be successful if you just hit $20 million in revenue. You can be successful if you just worked out the perfect sequence of your ClickFunnels campaign. It's not relative to how much money you got in your bank account, but you are the room you are in. So the first thing you got to do today is get into the social platforms, join rooms of like-minded creative disruptors that think differently and get challenged. Because the person sitting there that you were just talking about that tells you about the risk and tells you about how things are going bad, I bet you they're still painting and decorating for a living. So bottom line of it is listen to people that think differently and do differently. Don't get advice from a homeless person.
Well, there you go. I think you nailed it there for me. And that's really what I was looking for. I think, we hear so much negativity from the news and everything else and the people around us that if you're doing that, that's your own fault because you can choose your news and you can choose the people you're around these days and stuff. So I love that. Is there anything left on your fun bucket list?
Always. I run events called speakeasies. They're funny. And I'm going to tell you the website and then you're going to go to the website and you're going to go, is that it? I have a website called simsspeakeasy.com and it will tell you very little. I've warned you. It tells you incredibly little. What I do is I bring a maximum of 40 people together at a weird location, never hotels. And then I find out what their problems collectively are. And then I get world-class geniuses to come in and answer their problems. It's like a washing machine of getting people uncomfortable, tossing them around with different mindsets and ideas. And then we spit them out into the world. This to me is narcissistically fun, because people have no idea who's going to turn up. It ain't cheap. But they turn up and they go, oh, my God, I ripped Steve off. They get so much value and content. That's my fun. At the moment, I'm 55 years old. I run the world's leading experiential concierge firm for 25 plus years. Okay. And I've done all of the partying. I don't want to do it anymore. What surprised me when I wrote the book was that people aren't doing the simple and stupid stuff that actually works. They're too smart. They're too intelligent. And they're too scared shitless to have any fun. And so what I'm doing now is I'm trying to rattle up as many entrepreneurs as I can to do things differently, to impact our clients better, to breed loyalty without the requirement of a freaking points program that you get a pen after every 100. Starting to look at things differently. That's my enjoyment. And to be blunt, your whole process is about playing. The second I stop playing in life, I die.
Yeah, it's I think I did too, which is crazy. I mean, I was having a lot of fun, and then I started taking myself and my work too seriously, and it just all stopped. Really, stopped being fulfilling and entertaining and fun. It's a big deal. And I wanted to ask you a question about fun, because I think you're particularly well equipped to answer this question. One thing I found in my life is when there is that big moment, that red carpet, the New Year's Eve party, the huge thing, to me, they always seemed like letdowns because they were too big. And I always had more fun when it was more serendipitous, when it was small, it was unexpected. We didn't know where we were going, but we were just in the right mood and something magical happened. It sounds like your speakeasy events are more like that. Like you said, it's a washing machine where people know there's an energy to it, but there's not the pressure to like, tonight has to be the best night of your life because it's your wedding. I DJ'd so many weddings that were just ruined, right? By people saying, this has to be the most magical night of our life, and holding on for dear life, trying to force fun. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I'm sure the big events are fun, but what do you think is there a magic sauce to creating a really fun night?
I think it's anticipation and over delivering. And it's very hard for a big event to do that. Whether it be a big conference, whether it be a big Academy Awards party, you know, if you go to the Grammys, you know you're going to get musicians stand up on stage. You may not know who it is, but you know it's going to be musicians. Okay, great. But you also know you're going to be sitting in a chair listening to someone grabbing an award going, I'd like to thank my cat and I'd like to thank my mum. And they're constant drop-offs. And you'll have a great performance and then a drop-off. And the worst parties in the planet are the after parties for those events. Because trust me, every one of the celebrities, they want to go home. Okay? They don't want to be knocking around with you. They are done. So I used to throw little pre-parties a few days before the event for like That's cool. 50 to 100 people. They were way more fun because no one knew what to expect, what was going to go on, where it was going to be. And I took that idea into my speakeasy. And so I tell people the city it's going to be at. I tell people the date it's going to be at, and nothing else. And then I cherry pick all the guests. I cherry pick the attendees. You know, just because you want to go, if I don't feel you're the right fit, you ain't going. So they know that there's a lot going into this cocktail so that when you do get there, you go, oh, and it's that anticipation. Where am I going to be? Who am I going to meet? What am I going to learn? How am I going to get uncomfortable? How am I going to be able to creatively disrupt when I leave? It's all of that anticipation, and it's exciting. And it is a Molotov cocktail of creative explosion. So I really enjoy those, and that's exactly what they're. Plus the fact we never have more than 40 people, so they're intimate. You can't have a get-together barbecue with 200 people. You can't be intimate with 200 people. But we found that, 35 to 40, that's a good sweet spot. You can do that.
You really nailed the ingredients there, because that's what I think I've noticed is you want the anticipation, but if it's too much, the event can't live up to it, right?
Yeah,
if you go into the Super Bowl, most of your time is going to be spent standing in line, right? Yeah. And waiting for things to happen. The same thing with like Disney World or anything else that people build up is most of your day at Disney World's waiting in line. You're spending about an hour total on rides in 8 hours. So I love that. If you can create anticipation and then exceed the expectation for the event, both, that's where really magical things happen. And that's a tough balance.
We used to send people to the Playboy Mansion party. And when the Playboy Mansion party existed. And I always used to tell people, you're going to be disappointed. And they'd be like, no, I couldn't possibly be disappointed. It's at the mansion and there's all the kind of like semi-naked women and it's going to be great. And I'd be like, you're going to be disappointed. And I would try to talk people out of it and they would still go, no, I want to go. And they would get there And because it's that you would be corralled into like a certain area, the girls would be available for certain little photo shoots, and then they would go off, change, come back, another set of photographs. It was so staged, they weren't fun. And there was never a client that I had that went twice. Most of the time, the clients would contact me, go, "You're right. I should have listened to you." And they would spend up to $15,000 to go to one of those parties originally. But here's the daft thing. They would go back to their mates and they would go, "Yeah, I was at this Playboy party on Saturday." And they would not believe, their friends could never believe that it wasn't the most amazing event in the planet.
Right.
So no one would ever discourage them. And they would go, so a lot of people just wanted the story and just go, "Well, yeah, I was at a Playboy, man." And for everyone to go, "Are you kidding? You did? Wow." Inside, you know, it was the dullest party. I'd rather go to the opening of a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing in my career with other concerts or backstage things and stuff. You're like, well, no, I waited in a really long line to get a 10-second picture with a celebrity. Like, that wasn't a very good trade or a very good story, right? You want something more experiential than that. But we like to wrap up here with a game, but I can't force anybody to have fun. So, Steve, do you want to play or you want to walk away?
Ooh, now I mean, I have all these pins in need. What game are we playing?
I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm spinning the wheel of games right now. There's 10 games on here, and you got 2 truths and a lie. This should be fun for you because I can't tell if any of your stories are true or lies.
So what do I do? How do I play?
So I'll go first. I'll give you 2 true fun facts about me, and then 1 is a lie. You just tell me which one the lie is. So
okay,
I was on an after school PBS special about ethics in sports. I sang the national anthem with REO Speedwagon at Royal Stadium, and I have been bungee jumping and skydiving.
Ooh, okay. So I've got to recognize which one of those is the lie.
Right.
I reckon you got some balls on you, so I'm going to say that you haven't bungee jumped and skydived.
You are correct. Nicely done. Yeah, no, I am a risk taker emotionally, but not physically. I am not a fighter. I am not a high jumper, anything, cliff climber, anything like that. All right. How about you?
Right. Okay. Okay. All right. So, okay. You ready?
Yeah.
I have talked about Harley Davidsons with the Pope in the Vatican. I have serenaded with Andrea Bocelli at the feet of Michelangelo's David in Florence. And I have partied hard with Elon Musk's mum. Which one's the lie?
All right. Gosh, I don't know who would be harder to get to, Elon Musk or the Pope, but I'm leaning towards one of those two, and I'm going to say the Pope is the lie, and Elon Musk's mom was at the event you were at.
All right. It wasn't Elon Musk's mom. It was Richard Branson's mom.
Oh, man. That's so close. I shouldn't ask, but Richard Branson's mom couldn't be a young lady.
No, she absolutely wasn't. But she used to do a big event that I used to help her with called the Rock the Casbah, which was one of her charity events. But she was a very sprightly, strong lass, and we used to just like dance around and have a few drinks. She was a good woman.
Oh my gosh, that's so much fun. Great stories. I appreciate you being on here. Great advice for us and thinking about how to play and do cool things, and so much more there too to unpack. So go to stevedsims.com. You can also find the Facebook group from there and check out the book Bluefishing with Steve. Any other final thoughts?
No, just do something different. If it scares you, do it.
I love it. That is great advice for everybody around there. So you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify. Give us a big thumbs up on YouTube here as well. And we'd love to hear your suggestions for future guests, how you play for a living, and what you're doing to play during the pandemic. Encourage other people to have fun. Don't forget, you can take a free playfulness personality quiz at playfulhumans.com/quiz. I'm Mike Montague with Playful Humans. Now, if you can't be good at it. That's what I always say. Go play, everybody.